wastelands through the highways, and on
Welcome to Mike's Divided, everybody. This is Cameron Ford and Zach Burhans here to my right. We're going to be talking to you guys about the NFL draft and particularly the first round and all that's going on with that. And that'll start up on Thursday, right, Zach? We're
Absolutely.
looking forward to it. About time we get some sports back, right?
I'm telling you, it's the most important thing, especially for this football season, because we've been out of sports for so long.
Oh my gosh.
And then the WNBA draft was, basically online.
Sabrina going number one. No one.
What a shocker.
No, yeah, so surprised. Now, my question is to you. I was going to ask, what do you think? Do you think that this draft in particular will have even more viewers just because there's no other sports on right now? Or do you think it'll kind of just still be mainly NFL fans?
I think day one has a lot of fans.
And then it'll just kind of die
And then
down like
dies
it
off.
usually
Yeah,
does.
let me ask you, did you ever watch all 7 rounds?
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, it always does the thing where it comes out the
You
bottom.
watch day
and
one.
Obviously I want to see my team do its picks,
So
its
you're gonna
picks
watch
and
day
everything.
2.
And, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm just watching in my room. But yeah, but no, I really wanted to see what really happened, and I just wanted to kind of go with, and it kind of goes back to social media and being able to, when you follow your teams, as you follow the Broncos and I follow the Bills on these social media aspects, we get to see what they pick in there, and then it gives us a little more information about the players too. Obviously, we're not seeing the highlights that you do see on the first round and all that stuff, but when it comes down to it, I do feel as though it's very valuable to really get to see even players that that aren't standout like wide receiver or quarterback. If your team's not drafting at the linemen are just as important, and if not more important, because they're really what's
They're protecting the money.
They're setting the stage, man. So with that being said, let's start this thing off here and let's go to our number one pick. In my opinion, it is going to be Cincinnati Bengals picking up Joe Burrow, and I know you had some contradicting feelings about that, so talk to me about it.
I've said it in multiple podcasts. Joe Burrow will go number 1, but he's not going to the Bengals. The Dolphins are going to trade their 5th overall pick and either Josh Rosen or their 26th overall pick, and the Dolphins pick up Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and I mean, we do see that, I think we all know that Fitzmagic has kind of run its course, and that it's kind of going to be... It's kind of on the downhill a little bit.
His legacy.
Right. I mean, he was able to keep things going when it mattered, and he had some games where he beat the Patriots.
I was going to say, without Fitzmagic, the Patriots wouldn't have been in the wild.
That's right. And they wouldn't have been bounced like that, man. Crazy. But, I do think that we could see something a little crazy happen. You never know with the NFL draft, but I do think that no matter what, Joe Burrow's going number 1.
Oh, yeah, Joe Burrow has to go number 1.
I mean, with the season he had and he's a confident player, and
what
I really love
the
Joe.
national championship?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so, I mean, I love Joe, and I really think that that'll be the number 1 pick no matter what. So let's move on now to the Washington Redskins, and with that pick, I see it being Chase Young, and if they don't get Chase Young,
what are
at
they
number
doing?
2, what do you do? I mean, you just don't have any really sort of intentions of being at the next level in that conference, because I mean, that division's gonna be. It's always
the
like
NFC
that.
East.
Yeah,
East, not least. East.
Yeah, they freaking every year. It's always up for grabs. People don't know, who's gonna win. Who's gonna win? It's like almost nobody wants to win. Like last year with the Eagles and the Cowboys, it was like that.
And we knew the Redskins weren't winning it that year.
Yeah, that's true. But now here's my thing with adding Ron Rivera, and they did get rid of Josh Norman which was really crazy, because when that happened with getting Ron Rivera, I felt as though that would really help with Josh Norman, because we obviously didn't see Josh Norman have the season he had, like he usually has. But I thought it was kind of a coaching error too, and I thought that Ron Rivera coming in would have really helped him. But now that he's gone and he's on the Bills, it'll be interesting to see how he really shows himself. And we talked about that in our other podcast about how we think he'll really try to show his worth there. But what do you think? What else do you think? I mean, this Redskins team.
Well, the Redskins team, they need a lot. They need an O-line. They need a tight end. They need a wide receiver, a cornerback, and an edge rusher. Mm-hmm. So they pick up Chase Young. I agree with you. Chase Young is the pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they need to upgrade at wide receiver. That's like the second most.
Yeah, but they only
They
have
need to
one
help
pick.
Dwayne
But
Haskins.
since the fact that they only have one pick in
the
this
first round,
it's just
they have
like,
to pick
you have to pick Chase Young. Exactly.
There are
From what you
other-
saw at Ohio State, the guy is a monster.
Right.
There's no reason not to
No,
pick
yeah,
him.
and there's other options at wide receiver in later rounds.
Right.
It
There's
might not
actually
be-
a good amount of
there
receivers
are.
in this draft too. So I mean, there's
A lot of them will be
options.
gone in the first round, but
Yeah.
there's also look at like these late rounders in general.
It's also the teams that are not as well known that have like
Exactly.
those significant receivers that they have that were very valuable to their team, but didn't really stand out because they weren't playing these
They weren't-
crazy teams and they
Yeah.
weren't in these big conferences.
they weren't
but-
Alabama receivers.
right,
They
exactly.
weren't
LSU or Clemson, exactly. So we'll see that happen, I think. Let's go on to number 3 pick here, the Detroit Lions.
Oh, have mercy.
Yeah, I know. And Detroit really, ranked last in pass defense a year ago. I mean, but you lost Darius Slay and now he's an Eagle. I mean, so the fact that what we kind of see there is like with Matt Stafford, and we'll see if that continues with their, if they still believe in Matt Stafford. But no matter who they pick as their quarterback, he needs some protection, and that's the real problem. I mean, that's something that they really got to work on. I mean.
They need to work on their O-line, but their secondary.
Right.
They were ranked last
Mm-hmm.
in pass defense. This is a team that has always had potential, but how do you rank last in defense when there's teams that were as bad as the Bengals?
Right.
And then they're number 3 pick. They're not even the worst. They're not even the number 1 pick.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
So I have them picking a guy out of Ohio State, Jeff Okudah. I have him. He's a cornerback.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to replace Darius Slay.
Yeah, I could see that. And they really need the coverage downfield because that's where a lot of those players get beat at the cornerback position. They always have to – because think about it. You're playing teams like – well, you won't have to deal with Stephon Diggs as much anymore, but you were still playing the Packers, and you got to deal with all these significant receivers that Aaron Rodgers has dead eye on. So that, and then when
the
you go,
Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. I mean, they're still having some good receivers out there too, and they might pick up one. We don't know, but really, you're still having to go against some of the. I mean, Vikings still have Thielen, so I mean, what are you gonna? You really have to deal with that. So. Adding a cornerback to the Detroit Lions, I feel like will really bode
It's what
well
they
for
need
them.
first.
It is, absolutely. It's essential. So let's move on now to the New York Giants. Some team that I think is really trying to revolve the whole team now around Daniel Jones and around Saquon Barkley. And I feel like that's the smart move to do. Because you have a good quarterback, very smart quarterback. His IQ is out the roof. He was a very intelligent player. But then you have Saquon, who just... Although can't be tackled.
It's just go mode.
Can't be tackled. I mean, he's an animal. So you also need these big receivers, but I still think that we all know that their defense needs work, and that's kind of what it comes down to. So I had them picking up Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, and I saw so much out of Isaiah Simmons because Simmons really was a player that when Clemson needed him to step up in these big situations, he was able to do so and was able to really maneuver and be able to oversee everything in the defensive side. And I think that that's really what they need.
It's a good pick. Do I think there are some other options available? Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They need a fast, energy going guy off the edge.
Right.
They need to build around their offense, but defense wins Super Bowls.
Right. Exactly.
And you gotta start there with Isaiah Simmons.
I think so too. Yeah. So I think we'll see that, and I think the Giants the fans will be happy with that pick if they get him. If they've really seen Isaiah Simmons, they'll know that they'll know they got a good one. So let's move on now to the Miami Dolphins, and at the number 5 pick. Now that's giving that my take that the Dolphins still remain with that pick. I do see them picking. Everybody talked about going with Tua, but I do see them going with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert really stood out. He's really made his mark when he was over there, and I mean, I felt like it's just something that they're just gonna have to kind of weigh the pros and cons between him and Tua, and those two could go either way.
I love Justin Herbert. Mm-hmm. I love him. I have him going number 5 overall too.
Yeah,
but to the Bengals.
Yeah, that's true. You do, but either way, his mobility too is one of the most underrated things about him.
It is
because he's very good at looking at a player and deciding just on the move, just being like, all right, I'm just going to go for it. Yeah, I'm just going to go for it and dart it out.
Look where he went to college, right? Yeah. He went to Oregon. Who else went to Oregon that was like that? Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, exactly. And who was a great rusher.
They coach these quarterbacks
Yeah.
how to be a dual threat, even though their speed. I know Mariota's very fast, but they teach their speed on how to be fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also are really good about changing their uniforms every day. So I mean, they can always come up with some fresh clothes.
Have you ever seen their like locker room where they have
Oh
all
yeah,
their jerseys?
don't they have like a hot tub and stuff in there?
Yeah,
too?
they have.
It's unreal.
If I had over 100 jerseys,
I'd wear. I would. Yeah, I'd like maybe be wearing the same
I'd
one 3
be
times a
I'd
year.
be wearing a different style for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Halloween.
Right, I'm sure they have a red one for Christmas even that they want to wear. So I mean, they can do whatever they want.
No, green Christmas. There's green. It's fine.
But I do. Yeah, that's true. They could work with that. But I do see that Justin Herbert is really going to be that guy that can stand out at the next level and make his mark. Kind of like people like Sam. He could be like the next Sam Darnold or like Josh Allen, kind of, and making his wherever he goes. I feel like he can be.
He can produce.
Yeah, and he can be a franchise quarterback down the road.
He's going to start whether he's going to the Dolphins or if he's going to the Bengals.
Oh yeah, because they need it either way. So let's go on now to the Los Angeles Chargers. So. And this is where I had Tua going, which was right after. So this is kind of why I said that either one could be kind of flip-flop, just because they're right next to each other. So because both teams obviously need a quarterback, you know, the departure of Phillip Rivers, and I'm sure you were fine with that.
I am 100. I'm honestly fine if they just keep Tyrod Taylor. You're a Bills fan.
Hey, I'm cool with Tyrod Taylor being gone too. But yeah, no, I really see. I mean, I see Tua going here, but. Nonetheless, either one of those I think will be fine there, and it'll take a couple years I think for either one of them to make any marks in that division. But I do see them eventually being able to be the franchise quarterbacks of either one of those teams.
I prefer the Chargers going with Tua since he's smaller.
Yeah,
just Von Miller.
Once he's healthy. For him to sack.
Once he's healthy.
It's incredibly selfish, but
Justin Herbert can produce, and he knows how to get the job done. Tua knows how to get the job. He went to Alabama. But
he's also injury prone. You gotta think about that.
That hit. One hit from Von Miller.
That's true. Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor's back to the starter.
That's right. No, you're right. I mean, it could be something, but I mean, look at the Chargers. They got, they're gonna be. They're not necessarily losing him, but they have Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram being on free agency next year. So
they're not re-signing both.
I know, definitely.
So get rid of both.
It's the money. It's the money.
Get rid of both.
Yeah, I think so.
Just get rid of both.
I think so too.
Restart.
So now let's go on to the Carolina Panthers, and with the team that was really somebody that with the draft picks they had, picking up Christian McCaffrey will always be one of the best things they've ever done. Christian McCaffrey, I could see being MVP level this year and being somebody that really stands out. The guy is a hard worker, somebody that stands out on that team, and really was somebody that they revolved the whole team around last year, sadly.
He can't do it again this year.
No.
He personally can. He shouldn't have to.
And it's sad because of how humble he is that he has to take on that burden and feels like it's all him. Because it is all him. It's not your fault, but it is on you because they're putting it on you. It's not your choice.
It's his fault. The Panthers.
I didn't say that. No. I hope he knows that.
CMC.
We have the CMC. Run CMC. Unbelievable. But
tell your family members, Ed, I appreciate him on the Broncos.
Yeah, exactly. But now we do focus on Carolina. Now they got Teddy Bridgewater, so they think they have a quarterback now. And then now they have Robbie Anderson, who gives them a good target. But they do need to work on the defense because you've lost Luke Kuechly. You already had Thomas Davis gone. You lost Mario Addison to the Bills. I mean,
James Bradbury, Eric Reed.
Yeah, exactly.
These players. And under Matt Rule, first-year head coach, they're running a different defense this year.
Yeah.
They're going to be running a 4-3.
Yeah, I know. It'll be very interesting. That's one of the other things when it comes down to it is we always kind of see every time, we always want to know how it's going to develop, having a college coach being able to step up and being the NFL. And produce, and how much different it's really going to be. Now, he did put Baylor on the map, though. I'll give it to him.
You know what they do when they go from the NFL into college coaching?
Yeah,
Look at Harbaugh.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have a switcheroo there. We'll see what happens. But, hopefully things get better for them, and I could see the Panthers really being, if they embrace it being a rebuild season, then it will be. But if they don't, and they really try to go out there and win games, I could see them competing.
So who do you have them drafting?
I still have them drafting Derek Brown from Auburn, who is a defensive tackle. And from what I've seen from Derek Brown, what I've seen from Auburn, he was really somebody that was able to get to the quarterback and was able to really be somebody that was perfect on that edge and just being able to gun out when it all came down to it. And that's what they really need. They're losing all these pass rushers. They're losing these people that were really essential to that defense. So I think Derek Brown can provide that for them. So
I agree with that.
Okay.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, let's go to the Arizona Cardinals now.
Here's the thing with the Cardinals. Do they need to do anything now?
Oh my gosh, they won free agency like on a huge note.
Yeah.
I mean, good lord.
So all they need to do is protect.
That's exactly
protect
right.
Murray.
Well, you gotta. I don't know if at this point do you get guys that are like offensive linemen that are short, because you have one of the shortest quarterbacks in the game. He's not gonna see over these guys. You gotta move around. And you're like, oh. Well, I mean, like at that point, do you do that? Because my pick here is, Tristan Wirfs, and he's out of Iowa, but either way, I think he's going to add good protection for Murray, but Murray is so mobile anyway, it's kind of hard that that's what they need, but I still think they need it just to say that they have good offensive line. Right. But Murray is so good at coming out of the pocket, being able to be mobile, but also making good decisions, that I think that adding D-Hop, it's going to be, gosh.
But also, listen to this. I don't think this is going to happen, but just imagine this, right? So they have D-Hop. And let's just say they have number 8 overall pick.
Yeah.
There's some good wide receivers. There's Jerry Jeudy. There's CeeDee Lamb. There's Henry Ruggs III.
Listen.
Imagine. I know it's not going to happen. They don't need it. But imagine.
Oh, just imagine
them picking up one of these elite wide receivers.
That's what I'm saying. They could.
They could learn under DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of those things that they have these kids, like, they literally are in a prime position, because that's kind of where I am with a lot of these teams, and we'll talk about at the end with the teams that didn't get these first-round picks and stuff. But a lot of these teams that made their mark in free agency and really were able to exploit that and be able to be the teams that stood out and they kind of don't, because there's so many teams that when you go into the draft, they're like, all right, what are we picking up? Because we need this and we need that. But then the ones that win free agency and do it right and have the right cap space that can make room for these people, once they make that mark and make it happen, you don't have to rely. It's kind of like, in my opinion, it's like, you remember when we were in college, when we'd have like all these tests. You have 3 tests and you have a final. If you do good on the 3 tests, you don't need to worry about the final nearly as much.
And I don't know about UNC Charlotte, but at Catawba, in a couple of my classes, if you had an A going into the final, you didn't have to take the final. So if you produced your A's early.
So I'm telling you, like, that's kind of where they're at, where they did so well that it's kind of like a give or take, where like we could use an offensive line, we could give another receiver. Like, they have so many options right now. They won free agency on that note, so they're in a good position. So, and being at the 8th pick, it's crazy. After all
they can get whatever they want.
They can.
Hey, trade it.
So trade it up. So let's go now to the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 9, and I have them going with an offensive lineman out of Alabama, Jedrick Willis Jr. I'm sorry, but he is unbelievable. But the thing about it is, they still need like an explosive running back or tight end, because really now with like the situation that they're in at quarterback, it's just kind of weird.
Just with Minshew.
Yeah, but they had Foles. There was kind of like the opposite. I don't know. They were still kind of toss-up, because Foles is still kind of injury-prone. And then you have Minshew, who did great when he stood up. And then you still have a lot of the Jacksonville Jaguars fans still being the Minshew Magic. So, Minshew Mania. I'm sorry. I was thinking Fitzmagic. That's right. But, yeah, no.
One rocks a beard. Yeah, one rocks a mustache.
That's right. Yeah. Totally different branding. No, but they do need defensive work, too. So, Calais Campbell leaving. But it's going to be one of those things that I feel like they do need to get. No matter what quarterback they have, they need that protection. And that's what it comes down to.
Like, I don't understand why the Jaguars got rid of so much of their defense. Like, Jarrell Casey and A.J. Bouye are now Broncos. Jarrell Casey is a 5-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah. And
they don't have anybody to replace him.
Yeah, and Marcel Darius out now, who used to be a Bill. But, we're going to just have to see what they really do, because there's a lot that they could work on. But, I think that when it comes down to it, if they can get the right protection for the quarterback, they have the talent. They have the talent at quarterback to make it happen. It's just a matter of He needs more time, and they need to avoid the injuries. So let's move on now to the Cleveland Browns, who
dog pound.
It's interesting though, just because I feel as though you go on and they have all these talks about how Odell Beckham's not happy, and is Baker Mayfield really? Would you say Baker Mayfield's still like the franchise quarterback?
I think Baker Mayfield has proved himself to be the franchise quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Yes, I honestly think the dog pound should be ready. I think they're on the right track. Do I think they're ready to go win their division? No.
Yeah.
Because
the
Ravens.
But they could be sitting in that wild card position where they want to be, and
especially
make a mark.
in the coming years when there's a 7th team.
Yeah. No, exactly.
The Browns are in a good spot if OBJ
right.
can figure it out. I think Landry helps him.
I think so too.
They're buddies.
Yeah, they do kind of.
If they can work each other out.
Yeah, and I can see them talking through it and making kind of like. It might take Landry being like, dude, we got this thing going. We need you, and you need to.
Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb.
They do. They have solid offense, but it's still though it comes down to protection, and that's why at this pick I have Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. I think that he really was somebody that was able to still, no matter what, just give his offense gave protection at the running back and the quarterback. He was able to really be off the blocks fast and being able to be that guy. So really, like you said, I think they're on the right track. It's just a matter of really, it might come down to a chemistry kind of thing and making things work there. But either way, we'll see. Let's go on now to the New York Jets at 11. I was still talking about wide receiver because of, Robbie Anderson leaving. Gone. Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama, unbelievable. That's a huge pick if they got him. But
it's always a thing though. They're gonna pick up Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, or Henry Ruggs.
That's what I'm saying. They're at that point now. One of those three.
They're juggling.
They're all around there because there's so many good receivers in this draft, and we'll talk about Jefferson later too. They're all just exquisite receivers, and they're gonna stand out at the next level. And dude, just the way, and we talked about this in our other podcast about the size of college players coming into the NBA, it's the same thing in the NFL.
It's the same.
I've seen these freaking D-line dudes. They're just massive.
These are 6'5".
What are they feeding these children? But
I'm 7'8".
Yeah,
300.
You wouldn't know because we're sitting down. But yeah, it's either way, you got Joe Douglas entering his first draft as general manager, and they need that number one receiver.
And here's the thing. If they don't pick up Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, or Henry Ruggs III...
What are you doing?
But here's what I want you guys to do. Look up Jets draft picks on YouTube. And just watch them. The fans are never happy. It's like, all right, we need a wide receiver.
Oh, it's always that.
Let's go get a quarterback. We have Sam Darnold. Let's get another one.
You see the issue with that. They used to do the same thing with the Knicks. With Porzingis, they were like, oh, dear God. But, it's just, that's the way it comes down to, and that's their reactions is because of that. So we'll see what they do. They do need that number one target. They got to help out Sam Darnold. For my sake, I hope they really mess it up because I'm a Bills fan.
But also, Joe Douglas doesn't like Le'Veon Bell.
I know.
And Le'Veon's like, no, I signed the contract to be a Jet. Yeah. I'm really up for it. Just help me out on that offensive line as well.
Yeah, because he's a patient running back too. So
he's a guy that does a little stutter step and then goes.
Yep. And so we'll see what that happens there. But like you said, this guy could come in, and I am going to the Raiders right now, but CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma, the wide receiver, unbelievable player. Another just, they're all right up there together. I think each of the top three here are kind of at their own little area where they just stand out over everyone. Yeah, they just stand out. So, the Raiders need that receiver too. Losing Antonio Brown to that fun.
That was a fun time.
Unbelievable, just all that stuff that happened.
What do you mean, Antonio Brown? He was a Raider and a Patriot.
That's true, and a Steeler.
Oh, yeah, that was a thing too.
Yeah, more importantly. But you have a coach with John Gruden who is very intelligent, knows the game, and really can be somebody that can lead his team. And I love watching Gruden get mad because that's what I think it's a lot of it too. how different players respond to it, though.
Now here's a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Derek Carr stays the starting quarterback?
I was thinking about that too. I do think that he does, at least for this year. And then I think they'll go from there just to see how things, because that's my thing. If they draft this wide receiver or a wide receiver that's a top one, and he's still not getting it done, though, that's when
That's on him.
It's on him. Exactly. So I think that'll be something that with time we'll find out.
Mariota?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I know. So let's go with the San Francisco 49ers at number 13 here. And this is another wide receiver we talked about, Ruggs. Henry Ruggs.
That's not happening.
That's what I think he's going to. That would be insane at the 49ers giving Garoppolo and giving, just being an amazing target there. Complimenting Kittle. And, it'd be nuts. You still have, they did lose Sanders. So, Sanders being a Saint now is going to be crazy. So they need to replace him. But, you said you don't agree, so who do you think they're going to go with?
They're picking up an offensive lineman, Andrew Thomas, out of Georgia. Thomas is the most ready-to-play offensive tackle in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
They need an offensive lineman.
Yeah, they do.
And they don't, they need a wide receiver, but it shouldn't be a priority. Because Garoppolo already prioritizes his tight end.
He does, but I think that I also kind of think
they got the run game.
But here's what I think. I think that they kind of got auto-exploited in the Super Bowl, and people figured that out.
That was against the best team.
Yeah, but you also it's kind of easy to figure out when the way they
play. But they were also leading in that game most of the game.
Yeah.
And then the Chiefs decided they wanted to win.
I know, absolutely. But I'm saying so we'll go on now to the Buccaneers because this is where I have Andrew Thomas going because I know that they have to get protection for Brady coming in.
Brady's a speedy quarterback.
Yeah, right.
He leaves the pocket all the time.
I don't want to. Listen, man, I don't want to hear much more about Tom Brady because I don't have to anymore.
Then you'll like what I'll have to say. You have a guy that's being drafted to protect Brady. This is a hot take. I have Jordan Love, a quarterback out of Utah State, being drafted at number 14. I know this secures...
2-year contract, right?
Yeah, it secures the future for the Buccaneers. It gives a chance for a young player to learn under one of, if not, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Because you don't have Jameis Winston anymore. He went to what? The XFL or whatever, I think? So
the XFL has been shut down.
But I think he went to something down.
He's struggling.
Yeah, so something happened.
Realistic though, so.
Yeah, something happened there, but you want to give somebody like this? Because I think that's what the Patriots were going to do until Tom Brady decided to leave, that they were going to have that same thing where they were going to draft a younger quarterback and have him learn that year under Brady. And we'll figure out what they do. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I do still see them going with the line for that, Brady. But I see where you're coming from. I do. I do see that that's kind of a good motive to have if you're any team that has Brady, that's a good or an experience. That'd be somebody picking up the Saints doing the same thing,
right?
Or Drew Brees. Or something.
Look what the Patriots have to do now that Brady's not there. They didn't have a backup plan.
They have three quarterbacks that they don't know what they're doing.
They had Garoppolo.
Yeah.
And look what he's done under Brady.
Yeah.
So get this young quarterback and get him going.
And
this secures me for the number 15 pick with the Denver Broncos, which you don't agree with. No. Tell me about what you think.
I think it's going to be Xavier McKinney out of Alabama.
But where do you have him going?
He's
not going to Denver.
I have him going with the Dolphins because of the trade from Denver. But you say it's not happening, and tell me why.
No, the Broncos aren't trading the 15th overall pick. We're picking up Henry Ruggs
I can't believe that you think that Ruggs will fall that far.
He is going to fall that far. I told you exactly how that's going to play out. Jerry Jeudy's gone. CeeDee Lamb's gone. And then the 49ers don't pick him up. So that leaves him available. The fastest wide receiver in the combine is going to be a Denver Bronco. Drew Lock's going to write a Christmas card to John Elway saying thank you for Cortland Sutton and Henry Ruggs III. And we are going to win the AFC West and shock the world.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. And I'm very interested to see how that plays out. So we'll go on now to the 16th pick, and that is the Atlanta Falcons. And really, the Falcons did some interesting stuff in free agency. Getting Todd Gurley is very interesting, bringing him back home. And, you know, do you still think Matty Ice is a reliable quarterback?
Well, there was that one Super Bowl he was in with the Patriots. I've given the Patriots a little bit of shade, so let me just expose Matt Ryan. What was that score?
Yeah.
28-3.
That was the count.
Interceptions came, fumbles came, and then the Patriots won another Super Bowl.
I know.
I still think he's reliable. He was an MVP caliber. He was MVP.
Yeah. And you still have people like, I mean, you still have your target with Julio Jones. So, I mean, it's not. And, I mean, they kind of, it just seemed like they went away from their bread and butter last year. That's what the weirdest part was. Because things were working for them. Right. They just stopped it.
And then they got rid of Devontae Freeman and then Austin Hooper, who's now a Brown.
I know. Yeah, that's another thing. But also, it's weird because they went away from that, like what their bread and butter with, just like the Rams did with Todd Gurley, because they stopped running the ball. That's
another team that could have taken a Super Bowl ring away from the Patriots.
I know. I hate both of you. Yeah, no, it's crazy, but we'll see what happens with them. But I do have them going with K'Lavon Chaisson and out of LSU, because oh my gosh, the guy is an animal.
Yeah.
He is ripped beyond means, and he is shredded, and he is ready on the edge. He just comes out. He can go through anybody. It's unreal. And I love watching him play, and I love what he did for LSU this year. That would be a great person to have on your team, and the Falcons should go with him. So let's go to the Dallas Cowboys.
America's team.
We got the Cowboys. I had them going with cornerback C.J. Henderson out of Florida. I really saw a lot of promise from him and how he was able to stay with his receivers and being able to be the guy to break up passes and being there for, I mean, in a tough conference as it is already.
Right. I wouldn't say it's a tough conference. It's the NFC. They don't deal with the Patriots every year. Well, yeah. But they're definitely in a tough division for them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I guess. Oh, I was talking about Florida. Is where I was. That's what I meant. Oh no, the Dallas Cowboys are not in the tough conference.
That makes it SEC. Yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, okay. No, the SEC. Yeah. That's why you started talking, and I was like, right, okay, yeah.
SEC is a pretty tough conference.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right.
ACC.
Makes a lot more sense. Okay. Yeah, no. So I think they need that edge rusher at Henderson, and I think that's going to be somebody that really is able to. Cornerback, but being able to be that guy that's, really able to protect, and especially with the Cowboys, when if, say, the Eagles do go with a receiver or something like that, you're going to need somebody that's there and being able to be a presence there.
To keep up.
Exactly.
The younger.
Oh, gosh, you got this fast talent coming in, so
you need young talent that can keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't do pass interference. You'll be fine. Swat the ball. You don't need to intercept it. Swat the ball and you're fine. But the Cowboys, they also lost some veterans.
Yeah.
Robert Quinn's gone, so they need to find a complement edge rusher for DeMarcus Lawrence. Travis Frederick retired, and the O-line's gone. And then the tight end.
I know.
What's he doing?
I know. It's
Jason Witten. You retire, you're like, not even win for the Cowboys. Oh, wait, we lost again. I'm leaving. I'm going to a better team.
Game, man. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, just let him do his thing, I guess. But let's go on now to the number 18 pick.
Yeah, the Dolphins.
This is where I had the Broncos going now, but I also had the Broncos drafting Javon Kinlaw out of South Carolina.
There is a lot wrong with what's going on. First off, the Dolphins have this pick because they got this pick originally with the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade with the Steelers.
Right.
And then you have the Broncos picking up a defensive lineman. Why on earth do the Broncos need a defensive lineman? We need a wide receiver, an O-line, a cornerback, a linebacker, and a safety. We don't need defensive line. We picked up Jurrell Casey in free agency. We have Jonathan Harris and Mike Purcell. Drew Luck needs a wide receiver, and we're getting that at the number 15 pick for Henry Ruggs.
I don't know about Ruggs. I'm so iffy about Ruggs getting in there. But, who do you have them picking up?
You remember that guy you had 15, the safety, Xavier McKinney out of Alabama?
That's where
he's going with 18 because no one else is going to pick him up.
Oh, gosh.
Well, before that, he can be picked up later.
Yeah, Xavier, gosh. Trash.
Go be in a good conference.
Garbage. Well, let's move on now to the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, Raiders acquiring this pick because of that Khalil Mack trade. And this is kind of where I decided that they kind of needed to fill that void that they missed losing Khalil Mack.
I was so happy he was gone to the Bears. I could not believe it.
He's a monster, dude.
Yeah, he is.
Marlon Davidson out of Auburn is somebody that I saw as kind of somebody that has that potential.
He
not
is
kind
a
of
physically tough guy. Though.
Yeah, he is. And I think that's kind of the thing that they're missing, really, because of what Khalil Mack used to bring to the table, and they need that guy that's just out there on a mission day in and day out and being a beast on the line and getting to the quarterback. So I really think that could be a good
And with
pick
the Raiders' second pick, you might as well give it to him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah. So let's move on now to the 20th pick, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Acquired that from the Rams with the Jalen Ramsey trade. I have them going, speaking of losing Jalen Ramsey, going with Christian Fulton out of LSU. And, what else can we say about Fulton? But also, what can we say about LSU? The team made him look good. Yeah, the team made him look good, but he also did a phenomenal job on the defensive side. And being able to be, obviously we knew LSU was an offensive caliber team, but he really provided a lot that got underrated in my opinion.
Do you think the Jaguars are going in thinking Fulton can replace Jalen Ramsey? I know Jalen Ramsey...
From what I saw at LSU, I think he has the potential to. He doesn't talk all the crap.
Do you think he keeps his mouthpiece in his mouth?
Yeah, I think he keeps his mouth closed. It might dangle, but I don't think he's going to be nearly as bad as Jalen Ramsey. And he can talk.
I love Jalen Ramsey as a player.
So glad you do, because I do not. Let's go to the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is kind of where I had said this about them getting a receiver. Because I think that they go with Justin Jefferson now at LSU, who is an unbelievable target for them.
He's a great
Joe
target.
Burrow's buddy. right there. So that would be something that the Eagles complimenting Deshaun Jackson. Somebody. Right. It's just something that they need. They need to get. They really just need to give. All these other receivers a break. And I feel like they targeted the tight end way too much last year. So it's just that's kind of. But it's something that there's nothing really that. That's kind of their game plan, though.
Right, but he's not Jefferson, sorry.
I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
He isn't going to the Eagles.
Okay. Then where does he
linebacker Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma is going to the Eagles.
And the reasoning is?
He's a speedy linebacker and fits perfectly in the heart of the Eagles' defense, and defense wins Super Bowls. They have Deshaun Jackson as long as he's healthy. They don't have Nelson Aguilar, though.
That's a fat if. So we will see, though. But
I will draft him in fantasy football
in
the late round.
Hey,
the late round.
I'll take it, man. But let's go now to the number 22 pick, and this is the Vikings acquired from my Buffalo Bills because of the Stephon Diggs. And this is basically the Bills giving up our first-round pick for Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs with the first-round pick.
That's slight work. I'll take it. But now it gets to the point where their main target's probably going to be Adam Thielen because of Diggs being gone. So is that going to be, do you think that's something that teams are going to be able to match up against really quickly and catch on to?
I think early on they can figure out how to guard Thielen. Mm-hmm. They showed it sometimes when Diggs was on the field.
Yeah,
they would start, because Thielen rarely drops the ball.
Oh, I know.
And then you got Kyle Rudolph, and you have Dalvin Cook at running back.
Right.
So I think they'll adjust where they need to.
Yeah.
Surely the Vikings had a game plan. They wouldn't just give away Stephon Diggs without a game plan. Mm-hmm. But I have them, and I think you agree, with the cornerback pick they pick up, Jalen Johnson out of Utah.
Yep, that's what
the Vikings waved goodbye to their top 3 cornerbacks last year. Stephon Diggs, as you've said, is gone.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen needs help. Everson Griffin decided his time in Minnesota was finished.
Yeah.
And they need a guard. But there's also no depth at the safety position. So fix your secondary.
That's what it comes down to.
Get Jalen Johnson.
I agree.
And out of corner, he's a cornerback. And
yeah, that would be a good pickup for them. So let's go on now to the New England Patriots. And this is where
we love the Patriots this year.
You talked about Jordan Love. And this is where I thought that he was going to go. And it's ironic because this is where I had him going. And you had him going to the Bucs, which is under Brady. I have him going there now because they need to step it up. So they didn't have a stellar tight end last year, but they also didn't need one. But now, also, fun fact about the Bucs picking up Gronkowski. So, he has his favorite target again. We'll see if he stays healthy or if he quits, does
Gronk ever get hurt?
Gronk's like a bionicle out there. Have you seen that? Yeah, he's like a bionicle out there, but he, we'll see. They need a receiver for deep threats. I I still think that in the end of the day, they need a quarterback. And I think that's what they're going to get.
Well, they have a quarterback. And I do not have him. It's not going to be Jordan Love. I have the Patriots picking up A.J. Epinosa. He's an offensive tackle out of Iowa. He's an edge rusher and brings power to the rush, right? He does offense and defense. So that's a unique player that can do that.
Of course.
And then you have Jarrett Stidham, who is the 4th round pick in the 2019 draft.
Yeah.
He's going to start at quarterback.
Well, here's my thing. I just think that when it comes down to it, you're going to have basically with the Patriots, no matter who you have good coaching, but they did lose their offensive line coach, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because that was really the main key for Brady, is having all that time in the world to throw that ball.
What do you mean? He's a speedy quarterback.
No, I could have thrown that ball. So let's go on now to the New Orleans Saints at the 24th pick. I have them going with Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. I know you disagree, but I did have them going with him just because I felt as though the defense is really what needs work. We saw the departure. We'll see all the departures of all these defenders that they had, but we also see that them adding good things to the offensive side. So going with they added Sanders, right? So they're going to be a business for offense. I just feel like that's what they're going to mainly focus on is defense, in my opinion.
Obviously, I would have gone with Kenneth Murray here, but he's already going to be drafted. So honestly, if the Saints draft the number 1 available player remaining, you can't argue the decision.
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, he's the pick for me.
He was nasty.
Running back out of Georgia. He's elusive. And I understand what people are going to be saying. There's Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray. Kamara is the speed back and the Murray was the power back. But Kamara fatigues so fast. So
Latavius Murray did great, though. He was able to come back in.
But he's that power back. You need that guy that can do the wide receiver screens, the guy that can do the inside zone.
Right, I know. Yeah, that would be good for them. So I could see that. But let's go now to the Minnesota Vikings. And, we both kind of had different views, but we did still have wide receivers. We
know what they need. It's just who's going to be available.
It's very clear what they need. They lost to the Bills. But, I had him going with Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. And the more I saw of him, the more of just an offensive talent he really is and what he brought to the table, and was able to kind of put Arizona State on the map this year. So that's who I had. And who did you?
I picked Justin Jefferson. I think he falls in the draft a little bit. He's the dynamic receiver out of LSU.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow loved him. I know. He makes big plays in the slot, and he's outside the numbers. He can do them both. But I just don't think he gets drafted earlier. I don't know how they function. But they get him at 25, and it's a steal.
That would be a heck of a steal, especially for the Vikings. That could be that one target that eventually develops. So that could be cool to see if that happened. Either way, they're going to have a good wide receiver in our opinion. So.
Absolutely.
Let's go with the 26th pick now, the Miami Dolphins. They got a lot of picks this year.
Well, it's crazy.
Well, I can't imagine why.
They were told to be the worst team in NFL history, but they still didn't get the number 1 overall pick without trading with the Bengals.
Well, not yet anyway, yeah. So it's, I have them drafting in this one Josh Jones out of Houston. Whatever they do at quarterback, they're going to need protection over.
Absolutely.
And we talked about that, but Josh Jones produces so much and is such an essential part of that line that I feel as though there's no way you don't draft this man and what he brings to the table. Houston, being just on Houston, it was kind of like, a little quieter just because of where they play and who they...
But see, this is a Houston team that was in the top 25.
Yeah.
So they...
in football. Yeah, in basketball. They did great in basketball a year ago. But yeah, no, Houston's been a college that's really come out and been able to... But yeah, they really are kind of somebody that slides in there a little bit, but... Yeah. Reasons like these and the reasons we talk about with the O-line, what really makes a good team is the support they get and how much protection and how much time they need. And that would be amazing for whatever quarterback the Dolphins bring in.
Absolutely.
So let's go on now to the Seattle Seahawks and talk to us a little bit about that pick and what you think.
I don't understand what the Seahawks did last year. I have them picking up an offensive lineman, Ezra Cleveland, out of Boise State. But listen to this stat with the defense. When we think Seattle defense, we think Legion of Doom, right? Mm-hmm. Legion Boom. That's the Boom team that won Super Bowl 48. They blew out the Broncos 43-8.
Mm-hmm.
Love that Super Bowl. I have it recorded. I watch it every night. But this Seahawks team, the only team that did worse than them in recording sacks was the Dolphins.
Yeah.
How on earth did that happen?
So, I mean, with that being said, who do you have them drafting? I mean,
Yetur Gross Matos.
yeah. The big boy out of
He's an edge rusher
Lions.
out of Penn State. You know,
Yeah.
he's got the juice. And,
We are.
And,
Penn State.
and some of these mock drafts I've looked at have him going in the teens.
Yeah.
But not but
he's kind of
27.
but he's a monster.
He's steal for the Seahawks at 27.
It would be a steal. But I also, so in my opinion, I have them getting Ezra Cleveland out of Boise State just because I kind of see what you're saying, but I also saw that I really see that with Russell Wilson he took a lot of hits this year. And
He
so
did.
I felt as though that's kind of what they want to do because Russell Wilson is an exquisite player. And if you give him the time, even when you don't give him the time, he still makes this crazy
He
plays.
Houdinis you.
Yeah, he bamboozles the whole team. But that's what I kind of thought they need, so we can agree to disagree on that. But either way, I think Seattle Seahawks will be very happy with whatever pick they
Right,
get.
you have O-line, I have D-line.
Yeah, I think they'll be happy with either one of those picks, and they'll both be very valuable to them. So let's move on now to the Baltimore Ravens, who had a great season last year.
Start off, congratulations, Lamar.
Lamar on being the MVP, and then also cover Madden 21. He announced that. That's going to be awesome.
And the curse is over because Mahomes won the Super Bowl.
That's true, yeah. So he doesn't give a crap anymore. He's like, hey, let's do this thing. So that would be awesome to see. But, I have them going more on the defensive side because I felt that their offense was a juggernaut this year. I feel like they're going to go with Jordan Brooks out of Texas Tech because being that linebacker, having somebody there to be able to be in on all the tackles and being a guy that oversees everything like that, that's what they really need.
Yeah, they need it. Just imagine. Again, I also agree with Jordan Brooks. But just imagine if Lamar Jackson gets another breakout star at wide receiver.
Oh, gosh.
They're hard to beat.
Oh, absolutely. They're hard to beat. Well, he's so nifty with that fake handoff, too, that it's just like...
You don't know.
Oh, yeah. People are tackling the running back. They're just like, I don't think he's got it. Hey, get him!
Hey, but Mark Ingram was okay with it. But also, they need to replace the future Hall of Famer Marshall Yonda on the O-line. But that's like around 4 or 5.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
and
what I'm
then
saying.
they eventually, they've got to replace C.J. Moses at some point, right?
Right, exactly.
At some point.
I mean, so then the next one at 29 is the Tennessee Titans. And this is where I had Year Gross Matos going. Now, I just saw the Tennessee Titans being one. I thought he would fall a little further than you did, but either way, I still kind of think they need somebody on that as that edge rusher. Talk to me about the where you think he will. I mean, who do you think
I have
up?
Austin Jackson out of USC.
Mm-hmm.
He fills the Jack Conklin's free agency departure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what they need. They need an offensive line.
Yeah.
And then I know they need defensive line too, but again, this is a team that showed up when they needed to.
But they have to give Tannehill some protection,
They
too.
need
It's
to
like-
give him some protection.
Yeah.
And you kind of need a backup for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, you do.
Derrick Henry, as much of a monster he is.
But he's so built strong
And
that
when
he's kind of like a Zion where he could get hurt
Right.
easily.
And when you see the pictures, my favorite picture I've ever seen of
Oh,
the
the
Titans
what? Oh,
with
yeah.
Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry.
Yes, the size differential is unreal. But let's go on now to the Green Bay Packers, and this is where I had them drafting Patrick Queen out of LSU, the linebacker, somebody that another essential part of that defense that was really able to be there on every tackle and being the guy that was there. The Green Bay Packers adding him would be insane because they're already up there in that division. That's crazy.
The Packers didn't do much in free agency. They
they
gave
also kinda
they
didn't
gave
need
they
too
gave
much.
a lot of money to their defense last year.
Yeah.
So listen to what this is. So either the GM doesn't like Aaron Rodgers or helps on the way in the draft.
Yeah.
My vote's the latter because, I might not like Aaron Rodgers, but I'm sure the GM for the Packers does.
How could you not if you're
Right.
the Packers? guy?
So that with that being said, I don't have your guy being drafted. I have Brandon Ayuk, the wide receiver out of Arizona State.
Yeah.
He's explosive and tough,
Yeah.
and that's how I would
I
describe
think
him
he's
in
going to
2
fall
minutes.
that
Right?
far, and yeah.
Or if we had like a hot take bell, we'd be ringing it right now.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Pick up Jalen Hurts.
That's true.
Think about it. Get the future started under Aaron
That would be
Rodgers.
kind of crazy, honestly.
That's a big ring of the bell.
That's a huge ringing of the bell. That's like the Liberty Bell. But we'll go now to the 49ers at the 31st pick, and that's where I had defensive tackle Ross Blacklock going, and that's what you kind of felt.
Yeah, I
agree with me on
the
that.
defensive tackle out of TCU.
Unbelievable player. And TCU really was able to, didn't have their best year, but like, they
bounced around
right,
the
exactly.
top 25.
Yeah, exactly. And he was a great guy to have on the line and pass rushing and all that stuff. So they still need, like we talked about, what they already needed, receivers, O-line, but I think that's going to be a great essential pick for them. So let's go on now to the Kansas City Chiefs, the last pick in this round. And that's where I had them going with offensive lineman Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan. No. That's where do you have?
No. So you're a big fan of Stephon Diggs now.
Of course I am.
You know his relative?
My jersey's in the mail.
Right. You know his relative, Trayvon Diggs?
Of course.
Hasn't been drafted yet.
Yeah, I know, because...
The Chiefs are drafting that man, that cornerback out of Alabama, Trayvon Diggs. Big physical playmaker. He also plays wide receiver. Could you imagine that guy catching the ball from Pat Mahomes and then intercepting the ball from Drew Lock and then giving the ball right back to Patrick Mahomes?
He's going to go to the Bills because he wants to be with his brother, and that's where it's going to happen.
I don't think that's true because I'm telling you, they're not like the Barrett brothers or McCourty the McCourty twins.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of siblings, they don't want to play together.
Or the Edmonds.
Well, yeah. But then you got teams like the Watts,
Yeah, I know, exactly.
And I just don't think this brotherly duo is going to work.
It could be interesting to see. But now let's talk about the teams that didn't get a pick in this first round. And in my opinion, my Bills, I don't think we needed to because I think we're basically replacing our first round pick with Stephon Diggs, and that is totally fine with me. We got Mario Addison, we got Jerry Hughes will still be there. I mean, having the team we have, and we got Ed Oliver last year. Ed Oliver's awesome. And having Singletary, they talked about, this is a hot take, but I think that the Buffalo Bills, still in free agency, will end up with Leonard Fournette on the Buffalo Bills. They have talked to him. They have the best landing spot chance right now. Leonard Fournette will be a Buffalo Bill. Mark it. But either way, all the moves they made, they don't need a pick this round. I mean, it would have been nice, but with what we gave up and what we got back, I think we're fine.
Right, I agree. You brought up Mario Addison, Jerry Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be 33 and 32 at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Does that worry you for next year? Is that a next year problem?
I don't see it really bothering me this year just because I saw a lot of Mario Addison. When I used to live in Charlotte, I'd go to Panthers games. Mario Addison was great. Jerry Hughes is somebody that just forces so many turnovers and can get to the quarterback. And so I really see those two actually with their personalities and what I've seen on both teams. I see them working so well together. Exactly, meshing so well. And Ed Oliver's just like a kid, man. He's like a ginormous kid. I mean, he's really like a guy that knows what he wants and can get out there. And he might have not had the season that was a standout season, but he is going to be a monster now and he loves being in Buffalo. And that's what's important, and that's what we want. Guys that want to be there, because you don't draft a guy every day that's like, oh, I can't wait to go in that snow.
Well, hey, that's why Joe Burrow's not going to the Bengals.
That's right. Whatever. So go on, talk to me about the Bears, who also didn't get a pick.
I feel bad for the Bears. They're kind of like the Lions. They're in the same division, and you just feel bad. They have 2 picks in the top 160.
Yeah, that's true.
And, if Mitchell Trubisky wasn't enough, now they have the exact same guy in Nick Foles, and they need to improve their O-line. Their O-line was ranked 29th last season.
Yeah.
And they can't get actually, they can. They can pick up that guy you were talking about, 32.
I mean,
they can go pick up Cesar Ruiz from Michigan.
I don't know if that's not going to change the team around, let's be honest. But
honestly, you're probably right because they have 2 picks in the top 160. I don't even know if...
It's not good. Not good. But talk to me about the Texans.
They've lost. If you're a Texans fan, hey,
I'm sorry.
2022's on the
That's right, yeah. Because
not even 2021, 2022.
Dude, losing, I still don't understand.
And they lost DeAndre
We still sit
Hopkins.
about this trade and wonder,
Right.
and we're all just like sitting here like,
And,
and,
like-
Deshaun Watson doesn't even want to be there anymore
Right.
now.
And they got Brandon Cooks. Congratulations. They have a speed back.
Yeah.
Or a speed wide receiver, sorry. He's just,
Yeah.
But half their picks this year are late in the 7th round.
I know. Yeah, it's just like,
And-
what are we going for? Unless they just
Right.
make some trades. And I
But
don't really
then
know.
Kenny Stills and Will Fuller, they're going to be free agents at the end of this coming
So
season.
do you think that they end up last in their division?
No.
You don't? Who do you think does?
Jaguars.
Okay, well, I guess I could agree with that. Let's go on to the Colts now. They lost
This is a
Devin
team that's not
Funchess.
going to be last. They're
Yeah. Well, they had Phillip Rivers, and I'm really happy for the Colts, to be honest with
I'm
you.
happy for
because
those.
I know you're happy for that. He's gone. But I really do like the pickup with Phillip Rivers because it was a team that went from when they picked up Peyton Manning, when they had Peyton Manning and went through all these years with him. So they really were able to make a veteran quarterback and deal with veteran quarterbacks. So having that now, and you already get another veteran quarterback that's already kind of at that point where you're not just going through all the years with him, I think that's going to be really
But
good
do
for
you
them.
think Rivers starts over Jacoby Brissett?
I know you don't, but I think he does. And that's just me. Because here's my thing. The reason I think so is because I don't know how many years Phillip Rivers has left. And I think that they want to make sure it happens when it does. Because for all we know, he could next year be like...
Here's what it could be. With Phillip Rivers starting, right?
Mhm.
Go back to the Broncos last year.
Mhm.
We could pick up Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
He starts a couple games.
Yeah.
And Drew Lock came.
Yeah.
And look at Flacco now.
Yeah, I know.
He's not on a team.
He was like, where is he?
Not on a team.
Yeah, I know, I
So,
can
so
see that.
Rivers could start.
But I
and
do
then
think-
once he
I think-
declines, which he will.
Yeah.
Because
getting
he's
up there.
he's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
But
Great athlete. But his time's numbered.
well, that's my thing though. I think that Joe Flacco felt that Joe Flacco also had more years in him than Phillip Rivers does. But that's just
Right.
me. Also, Phillip Rivers has like 30 kids, so that's part of it.
What Phillip Rivers and Joe Flacco have in common, and this is a good thing,
Mhm.
they're both super competitive. They want to be the starter.
exactly. So they'll do whatever it is, whether that's
They'll
being
do-
benched or whether that's
Exactly.
being on the line. Exactly. I think we agree on that. So let's go now to the Rams. You lost Todd Gurley, your go-to. Brandon Cooks, Clay Matthews, Dante Fowler, like, what are you
No
doing?
first-round picks.
Like Jared Goff, here you go.
Hey, they got Cooper Kupp,
Yeah, they do. Cooper Kupp, but he has to stay healthy too.
Robert Woods.
Yeah.
They don't even have their backup running back. Corey Littleton's gone too.
I know, dude. I don't know, because you went from a team that was in the Super Bowl, and then now you're just.
This is a team that's going to lose to the Cardinals twice.
Oh yeah, that's a hot take.
Maybe the Seahawks twice.
I think they have a better chance of losing to the Seahawks twice. Honestly, in my opinion,
And they could lose to the 49ers twice.
it could be a weird division this year.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But let's go lastly to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'd like to say we saved the team that a lot of people either love or hate for last.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. They only have one pick in the top 100 in the draft with the 49th pick.
We love the Steelers.
But I do think that they have such good ownership and such good GMs up there that I could see them making a really
That
good pick.
same great GM. There's no Antonio Brown, no Le'Veon Bell. You got Ben Roethlisberger. He's looking like
Yeah.
a caveman.
Yeah, he's going to come out. That might have to worry about that strap staying on him with that.
Hey,
but,
and take a book,
Mhm.
take a chapter out of Ryan Fitzmagic's book.
Yeah.
And
It's
it'll be
true,
fine.
yeah. Do a
If you
little
throw
tutorials?
If you throw 4 interceptions and throw 2 touchdowns, hey, you threw 2 touchdowns.
That's true, yeah.
Put the pressure on your defense. Let them make sure they don't.
Yeah, so we'll see. So we got the draft coming up here now, and it is about that time. We've been waiting for it. Those are our picks. We think that, we'll see what happens. I mean, we're really excited. We're just more excited for sports to be back. And then there's
Absolutely.
hope for the season because this has been way too much for us.
And when Henry Ruggs does not go to the Broncos, we're going to have
We're
gonna
gonna make some phone calls?
make
All
some
right.
phone calls.
All right. I'm cool without our first round picks. Bills, you won in the offseason, so I'm very happy. I'm so excited for football to be back. I'm so excited for sports to come back. We're going to make it happen. We're going to get through it together. So thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for tuning into our podcast. This has been Mike's Divided, and we'll see you guys next time.